The SL is one of Mercedes-Benz's longest lived and most prestigious and well-known models. It started long ago in the 1950s with the iconic 300 SL, which many attribute to be the first ever supercar. And then it went on through many generations of being absolutely gorgeous, but also extremely well built. At the same time, forging itself a reputation for only being driven by super rich people. But as it went on through the years and the generations, it also got itself a reputation for only ever being driven by rich, yes, but old farts. It was mostly just old people driving these things. If you're a bit older and you're watching this video, don't click off just yet. I'm sorry if I offended you, but it's true because the SL really did get itself a reputation for being an old person car. And I'll be 100% honest with everybody right now. I think that if a car has a reputation for being an old person car, then that means it's a good car. That means that down the line, when you go to buy it used, you know that it's been garage kept. It also has lower miles. They're usually better taken care of, and they're usually more comfortable, better built. And on the daily driving commute, you want something more comfortable and well built. So I will say right now, an old person car to me means that it's a good car. But to Mercedes-Benz and AMG, having the reputation of being an old person car wasn't really gonna cut it for this latest generation, codenamed the R232. When Mercedes-Benz and AMG decided to work together to bring the latest SL to market, they decided no more old people. We are going to tailor this to pure driving enthusiasts and make it a pure sports car. And do you know who's driving around in these things? It's still old people. It definitely didn't work. And they did make some other changes that I'm not particularly a fan of. Although a V8 is available on the SL63 and SL53, this one unfortunately is the starter model SL43. So instead of a V8, instead of a 6-cylinder, it has a turbo hybrid 4-cylinder underneath the hood. And if that's already not insulting enough, just look at the turbo electrified badge on the fender right there. It's like it's proud of the fact that it's a 4-cylinder Mercedes-Benz SL with AMG badges all over it. Not really a great start, and it's definitely not my favorite Mercedes SL, but for that, we're gonna have to go on a full review type tour of the R232 Mercedes SL43. So let's get started. Let's check out how much we have in terms of practicality. It's a little roadster, as you'd expect, but you do have a power lifting trunk lid right here, which is quite nice. You look inside, and as you might well expect, it has a very tiny trunk area, made even smaller when this roof is folded all the way into the trunk area. But honestly, when the roof is up and you go to press that button to give yourself a little bit more room, it doesn't really do that much. It gives you a bit more room, yes, but honestly, it's not that hard to sacrifice this much storage space to get yourself a top-down experience. And now that we've discussed the very small trunk, it's time to discuss the worst rear seat in the entire car industry, the worst rear seat I have ever experienced or seen or featured on this channel. The back seat is absolutely atrocious. It's so bad that it even makes it less comfortable for the front seat passengers as well. So let's go on and explain that a little bit more. And as you can see here, there's not that much to work with. It really begs the question why they bothered trying to put any seats back here, because not even an infant child would fit back here. I don't know why they bothered to put Isofix anchor points in the seats for a child seat. You're never gonna get a child seat in this car. But let's just pull on this annoyingly electronic door handle that looks like it's a mechanical door handle, but then you pull on it and then it resists, and it's weird and not really all that well executed. I'm not sure if this is even something we need to show in this video, because this is just... So, as you can see, the driver's seat is folded forward and moved all the way forward. And even then, even if I had the leg room when the seat is folded back, which I obviously won't have any, this back seat is pointed basically directly upwards to the point where not only is the windshield in line with the middle of my forehead, so if we got into a rollover accident, I'd be the first to die. It's just desperately uncomfortable. I mean, I don't even know if I can fit my seatbelt. Yeah. Perfect, I'm ready to go. Oh my God. Yeah, no. It stops just short of crushing me. So you could maybe fit back here if you have a friend that is no taller than 5'1" in the front. But if you're anything over 5'1", then you're gonna wanna be sitting up front. Or honestly, if you're just a human being at all, you're gonna wanna be sitting up front. But even sitting up front in the SL43 is made worse by the presence of these rear seats. And let me explain why. All right, so if you are a tall person such as I am, 6'3", you're gonna wanna sit with the seat pretty much all the way back. But the seat, when it's all the way back, is making direct contact with the rear seats. So if you think to yourself, I just wanna recline my seat, sit in a more relaxed driving position, then you just hit the control that's on the door, as it always has been with Mercedes cars. And the backrest does recline, but because of the lack of space due to those rear seats being there, it also slides the bottom part of the seat forward. In short, you can't really ever get as comfortable as you want to in even the front seat of the Mercedes SL, which means that these rear seats are so awful that they even make it worse for the front seats, which is why I'm crowning it the worst rear seat I've ever experienced in my entire life. Let's move on from that and talk about the interior. I'm gonna start up here.
You have not subscribed to this service. To use
I don't know why
it,
she keeps talking to me.
You first have to activate the service in the Mercedes Me app.
Tried to move the seat down and it just denied me of that, apparently. And it also is insulting to be in a 4-cylinder Mercedes-Benz and see AMG, 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 AMG. Literally everywhere you look in this car, you see an AMG badge of some sort. On that note, let's talk about the interior, which in this car, the interior is absolutely gorgeous. Just as long as you don't touch anything, especially this panel around the door handle here, it squeaks a bit more than you'd like it to.
I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I will change the color.
I did not ask you to change the color. What do you mean? The ambient lighting in this car is actually pretty sweet. That's one thing I like about it. I wasn't going to talk about that yet, but you know, she decided to interrupt. There's a lot of things in here that when you touch it, it's a little bit squeaky and not as nice as you want it to sound. But overall, when it comes to just appearance on the inside of this car,
You have not subscribed to this service. To use it,
when it comes to looking at things inside the car, everything looks super expensive. You do have lots of nice things to touch as well, like this door panel is leather and has contrast stitching all over it. This speaker cover right here is absolutely gorgeous. Also, these air vents are really super cool. They've got this sort of turbine look to them. It's very nice and expensive looking. Also, this steering wheel is absolutely fantastic. It's basically like a 6-spoke steering wheel. You've got lots and lots of controls on this steering wheel, but honestly, it's pretty intuitive. You've got volume controls and media controls down here on this bottom right spoke, and then above that you have controls for the infotainment screen here. Opposite of that, you have controls for your digital gauge cluster, which is very cool, and down from that, controls for your cruise control. And I don't think there's another car that has this much functionality in the steering wheel, but it still isn't really that overbearing, which is cool. And moving down from that, you have 2 little drive mode toggle switch things here. On the right, this one controls a shortcut for your drive modes. You have individual, comfort, sport, and Sport Plus. Also, you have slippery for if you ever decide to drive this thing in the snow. And if you ever do want to do that, you still have the headscarf feature in the headrest, which will blow warm air on the back of your neck if you decide to drive this thing in cold weather with the top down. And then on the left toggle controls things like your exhaust mode and your traction control. Now let's talk about the infotainment system actually. This is the latest version of Mercedes-Benz MBUX and it is absolutely fantastic. On this main menu here, you have climate controls set in one spot in the bottom. You have widgets that you can modify. Right now it has one for my media controls, one for connecting a Bluetooth device. And the main part of the screen, the background, is a massive map, which is really cool. You can also go into various different car functions, including massaging seats for the front seat passengers, which should hopefully help them forget about the fact that they can't actually get into a driving position that they want to, because this car has god-awful rear seats, but massaging seats is better than nothing. Also, if you go into the AMG menu and you select IWC, you get a little stopwatch in here, but it's presented as basically like the watch that I'm wearing right now. It's just a traditional analog, old school, classy watch, which is something that I'd expect from an AMG SL. Yes, it has a stopwatch in here, but they made sure to make it look timeless and to make it look beautiful and like an expensive automatic watch, and that's what you have. And then if you toggle over to the engine menu, you got a little readout for your horsepower and pound-feet of torque at any given moment, and they put your car right in the center with a highlight of that god-awful four-cylinder that you decided to settle for because you didn't want to deal with the V8 and paying more money for gas. So it's always there as a reminder that you got the engine that nobody likes, that nobody wants, and it's going to hurt you down the line when it comes to resale value. Every time you go into this car and you think, yeah, I'm going to read my performance gauges, that four-cylinder is always staring you in the face, just haunting you. It's a never-ending reminder of regret right there. So let's toggle away from that screen and go back and play with the whole screen a little bit more. There's not a whole lot to this screen. It's just a modern infotainment screen, but there are a couple things, namely these shortcut buttons that are presented just below the screen. You have one for your drive modes. You have one for your convertible top control, which I hate because instead of just having a switch or a button somewhere in the car like normal convertibles do, you have to touch the screen, slide it over one direction or the other to tell it either to put the roof up or put the roof down. You have to touch it and hold it over there, which means if you get in this car on a scaldingly hot day, the sun's been beating down on the screen and you just want to put the roof up and turn the air conditioning on, that means you have to get third-degree burns as you hold that little toggle on the touch screen right there for about 15 seconds until the roof actually latches itself shut. It would have been so much better to just have, oh, I don't know, a button in here, but they didn't give that to you for some reason. But they did give you a little consolation prize, which is the fact that at any moment you can change the display angle of the screen, which is a nice little fidget to do. I'm not sure what it's really that useful for. The idea is that if there's too much glare on the screen from the sun, you can change the display angle to get a better view, which I guess makes sense. I guess it works. Honestly, it's more just a fun little fidget for me. So yeah, that's something. And then you move over to the digital gauge cluster, which is one of my favorites in this Mercedes because it always shows lots of information. You can toggle various different things. You can change the entire layout if you want it to look a little bit more sporty. You can do that. If you want it to look like classic gauges, you can also do that as well. And in each gauge, you can have various different things showing, like even an analog clock in one of the gauges, which is really cool. This is one of my favorite executions of a digital gauge cluster. Mercedes-Benz has been doing it right this entire time. Another thing Mercedes has done right this entire time is the electronic gear selector. So many car companies are using these stupid rotating dials or buttons in dumb places on the screen or whatever, or a little nub right here next to your arm. Mercedes just has a simple electronic column-mounted gear selector, which yes, is a little bit anticlimactic when you're in an AMG car, but honestly, it's just a better execution of anything. Push it down for drive, up for reverse, and press the button for park. It's simple, it's right there where you're not gonna accidentally touch it, and it just makes perfect sense. This is the best electronic gear selector in the car industry right now. Now it's worth noting at this point that the Mercedes-Benz SL does still offer the 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 in the SL53 and SL63. If you want V8 glory and that amazing bellow that that engine offers and the amazing power delivery of well over 500 horsepower in any given version, the SL53 is 470, the SL63 is well over 500. You can still do that, but as a starter base model, can't really call it a base model when it's 100 grand to start with, but it's the least expensive version of the SL, has a 2-liter hybrid 4-cylinder engine, which yes, does deliver 375 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's still a 4-cylinder, and it highlights the problem with Mercedes AMG lately, which is the fact that they've been trying to push a hybrid 4-cylinder on people in cars that previously had big, throbbing, massively powerful, and amazing V8s. And it really hasn't gone that well. The Mercedes C63 has offered, as of late, a plug-in hybrid 4-cylinder with 670 horsepower, but it's still a 4-cylinder. And it really hasn't been received that well by the market, which is why the C63 is soon to offer a traditional turbocharged 6-cylinder like what the BMW M3 has. Again, complaining about the powertrain in this SL43 isn't really doing the SL that much justice because, again, this is the beginning model, so you can't expect the biggest, most amazing, most prestigious engine up here, but you're still charging $109,000 for a Roadster with a 4-cylinder engine underneath the hood. It sounds like a 4-cylinder and it feels like a 4-cylinder out on the road, but at least underneath the hood, it looks pretty cool. You got the AMG badge on this cover right here, and also, as you'd expect for an AMG, it's handcrafted by somebody which looks like Ludwig Reichkurve or something like that. And I'm sorry, Ludwig, for trashing on your engine that you built, but it really shouldn't be in an SL, if you ask me. I do like the fact that on the left you can see the turbocharger. It's prominently displayed there on the side of the engine like a decoration piece. Looks very cool, and this engine does develop quite a lot of power. It sent this power to the rear wheels only in the SL43 via a 9-speed automatic transmission. The SL53 and 63 are all-wheel drive only for the first time. This SL43 is only rear-wheel drive. So with that, let's take it on the road and see how it drives. Okay, here we are driving the latest and not so greatest Mercedes SL, the SL43 AMG. Now, you might notice that I'm wearing a different shirt, different pants, and a different hat, and that's because I'm doing this driving portion over again. And that's because the entire time I think I complained about the fact that it's a 4-cylinder, and I think that the SL is losing everything that makes it special. But to be honest, driving around in this thing, it's still a pretty nice car to drive around in. My complaints with this latest Mercedes SL can be chalked up to just a couple things. Number one, I don't like the way it looks. Number two, I don't like how it's changed its personality to try to be more of a sports car when really it's the same people that are buying it. And number three, at least in this SL43, I don't like the powertrain. It definitely sounds like a 4-cylinder when you put your foot down, and it pulls like a 4-cylinder with a big turbo too. There's a lot of turbo lag, and yeah, it has quite a lot of power, but when you put your foot down in this thing, it doesn't match up to the performance and excitement that you expect, given the fact that everywhere you look in this car, there's an AMG badge. There's 2 on each wheel, there's 1 in each headrest right here, there's 1 in the steering wheel, 1 in the gauge cluster. There's AMG badges literally everywhere on this car. It's billing itself as the AMG SL. Here's what I mean. I'm gonna put my foot down here. We're gonna put it into Sport Plus mode. It's not an exciting powertrain at all. Yeah, almost 400 horsepower and rear-wheel drive, but really, it just doesn't feel nearly as exciting as you want it to be, given the fact that no matter where you look, there's an AMG badge waiting for you to see. This car bills itself as the AMG version of the SL, as Mercedes-Benz is deciding to just mix it in with the AMG GT to the point where the SL has kind of lost its way. I imagine if you step up to the SL53 and the SL63, those are pretty awesome, because outside of the way it looks and the terrible back seat room that even ruins it for the front seat passengers, and the fact that they tried to make it more of a roadster version of the AMG GT, outside of all of those things that I don't really like, it still has some really very nice qualities. Like, I'm just driving along right now on a normal back road with some neighborhoods, not getting on it. I'm in comfort mode, and it's very, very comfortable, exceptionally comfortable given what I was expecting with all the AMG badges dashed about it. It's exceptionally comfortable, and it's also very quiet. And when you have the roof up, it feels as isolated as you want a Mercedes SL to be. It's very comfortable, it feels very relaxed and refined. And I guess if you're just planning on getting a roadster to enjoy the wind in your hair and the feeling of being closer to nature, but also not that close to nature because you want to be isolated and feel like you're in a true luxury car, I could see the SL43 making a little bit more sense. Because if you don't really care about all that V8 power and you just want something to cruise around in, there's no real problem with this. And honestly, my complaints about my lack of comfort in the front seat can be chalked up to the fact that I'm just taller than a lot of other people. If you're under 6'3", then you should be pretty okay. Is it worth $100,000 though with the 4-cylinder? I'm not sure, but if you're looking for the top end Mercedes SL, you're not getting the 43, you're getting the 63. So with that, I'm gonna end that video there. Everyone, have a fantastic day. Like, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.